Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our Future Proof Your Talent with the Power of AI web event. We will be joined by Wade Lee with Software Productivity Strategists and Michael DeCarlo with IBM. Please note that all participants will be on mute and that this will be recorded. If you should have any questions, please click on the chat icon and type your question. You can find it by hovering your mouse over the bottom of the screen. Questions will be addressed at the end. Thank you.
Yes, hello everyone. I'd like to welcome you, and thank you, Amy. I'd like to welcome you to our event today. This is some very timely and impactful subject matter. We look forward to sharing our insights with you. So for today, from an agenda, I'll kick things off. I'm Wade Lee, as Amy had mentioned. I have over 25 years of experience in business development with some of the largest IT companies out there, such as IBM. But my niche is working with high-quality professional service solution providers, such as SPS. Now, Michael DeCarlo will be the keynote speaker. Michael is part of IBM's Watson Talent Group. He has a phenomenally appropriate background for this. With close to over 20 years of experience, he has a powerful combination of sales and business skills combined with technical acumen. And he's worked with industry giants such as Booz Allen Hamilton, Hewlett-Packard, Verizon. And he's been, in recent past, laser focused on this particular area. So let's address the first question. Who is SPS? Okay. Now we're headquartered in Rockville, Maryland, just outside of DC. We've been around for over 25 years, providing a full range of professional services. Our value proposition is really defined by the acronym SCALE. And you can see below that it is security services, cloud services, artificial intelligence development services, learning and events. And we put these together to reflect our client's ecosystem. And what this allows us to do is to bring fully comprehensive solutions to the table. Net it out, we help our clients get to the next level. So we happen to be pretty good at it, okay? We win awards. And as you can see, I'm not going to walk through all these, but you can kind of see IBM likes us. So the next question is, why are we here? Okay, so I'm going to first talk about artificial intelligence, or AI. Now, a year ago, if you'd asked me about AI, I had a quote that I used a lot. I would say, it's everywhere and it's nowhere, meaning that it's on everyone's strategic plan. Everybody's talking about it, every CEO. But there are very few companies that have that had at that point an actual real live AI initiative in place. It was somewhere between 5 and 11%. That was 12 months ago. Okay, a lot has changed since then. Initiatives in the AI space are ramping up in many different forms. In part, this is because IBM has made their AI engine available in some very creative ways. So why do companies innovate? Well, there's typically 5 reasons. One is to reduce costs. Then they want to increase productivity. They do it to add brand new functionality to their portfolio. They do it for compliance, and more recently for security. But at the bottom line, all of this has a single common thread. It's to enhance their competitive profile. So now let's look at what IBM has done at a very high level. Okay, they've applied AI to some of the basic fundamental business functions present in almost all companies, such as finance and marketing, and appropriately for today, human resources. And more also appropriate for today, the early adopters become well positioned to gain the competitive edge by using this. So that said, I turn the presentation over to Michael.
Thanks so much, Wade, and good morning, everyone. Appreciate your time and attention this morning and for taking a few minutes out of your busy day to learn more about what SPS and IBM are doing together in the cognitive space. To kick things off, I'm going to start with a quote by who else other than Stephen Hawking. And I'm not going to read, I'll warn you up front. Some of my slides have some words. I'm not going to read off of every single slide, but in this case, I'm going to read this word for word. Every aspect of our lives will be transformed. In short, success in creating AI could be the biggest event in the history of our civilization. AI will either be the best or the worst thing ever to happen to humanity, by Stephen Hawking. Suffice it to say, we are definitely entering a new era, the cognitive era. And we're seeing this throughout, like Wade pointed out, throughout all industries and organizations, but especially in HR. And this is where IBM has been leading the charge in cognitive HR. And you're going to see some examples of that in the next couple of minutes. However, before we jump into that, let's set the stage. Why are we talking about cognitive and AI in the HR world these days? Why is that? Well, one of the reasons is that the world is just changing so fast in every way, and organizations have to keep up with it. Again, like I said, I'm not going to read some slides, but I'm going to read the two bottom pieces of information there in bold. We're seeing this throughout businesses, but we're seeing this especially in talent in the HR space. Great talent, it's in short supply. And job seekers today are really in a position of power. And secondly, job applicants and job seekers, whether they be internal or external to an organization, just have higher expectations. They demand more information, and they're expecting an experience that is similar to the experience that they have with any interaction with an organization. Whether, for example, if they're like an online experience at Amazon or an online experience in a customer service type of a situation, applicants are expecting the same thing. Well, that of course means that organizations really need to change, and they need to evolve. But we're seeing that change is hard. We know that, right? This quote is a few years old. It's actually from July 2015, but it's from McKinsey, and it's about change in general. And we know that organizational change is a challenge in general, but it's the number one challenge as far as digital reinvention. And we know that change programs fail. We know that change is tough. But the challenge today is that the CHRO, or the Chief Human Resources Officer, anyone in a leadership position in HR in organizations, they are really being challenged now with making the experience not only for applicants, but the experience as far as how AI can be applied and how a digital experience can be leveraged to enhance talent, and to make them more competitive. Interestingly, I subscribe to this magazine, and literally I received this magazine today, or I guess yesterday, in my home mailbox. And I pulled out a couple of quotes from this, but they're absolutely pertinent to what we're talking about today. And again, I'm not going to read everything on the page here, but I'm going to point out that second line there. HR will be responsible for the experiences of every human who touches the enterprise. Should have mentioned, this is from the article entitled Future-Proofing the HR Function, applicable to our meeting this morning. And it also points out that change is tough. This transformation towards cognitive is not gaining traction as quickly as one might think, simply because change is tough. 40% say they have a digital transformation plan in place, whereas 70%, and that must be from another group or something, that this is one of the biggest challenges, and only 37% are confident, very confident about HR's ability to transform and really make this leap to cognitive. That's surprising, but in a way, maybe it's not. It's surprising to me because I'm so enmeshed with the cognitive HR now. I'm seeing it with organizations I work with. But on the other side, having been working with organizations in change initiatives related to technology for pretty much all of my career, I'm well aware that it's just slow going. But as you'll see as we start talking more about AI in the talent space, you're going to see that why it's so important. One of the biggest reasons why it's so important is that organizations say they wouldn't rehire 39% of their recent hires. 40% of their recent hires, they're saying they wouldn't rehire. Now, what if they could have figured that out before they made them an offer, right? That's obviously part of the hiring process, the recruiting process. Another, 74% of high potential employees indicated they would leave their company. They would leave their company, 74%. So if anyone out there who is hiring people, anyone out there who is fighting for talent, just think that 74% of your current workforce may very well be ready to leave and go somewhere else. That's huge. The solution is that organizations of the future need to be talent-centric and powered by AI. They need to focus or refocus themselves on talent, making talent a priority, and doing so with artificial intelligence. So how do we create a future-proof talent strategy? There's 6 things that we can talk about conceptually, and then we'll touch on these as I show some of the IBM Watson products that support this. Knowing the jobs and skills you need. That's pretty simple, right? But I've worked with organizations who do not know which jobs and which skills they need. Accurately assess and evaluate the fit. I am reading off this slide because this is important. Making data-driven hiring decisions. Data-driven versus emotional decisions, for example. Data-driven decisions not only ensure that you find the right person because you can make an objective decision, but it also ensures that someone is not, it also helps actually with compliance and legal issues as well. Increasing recruiter speed and effectiveness. I'm going to give an example of this with IBM Watson recruitment in a few minutes. Driving internal mobility, which of course means ensuring higher retention rates for existing employees, and attracting new talent. So all of these can be impacted by AI, and we're going to talk about that in the context of the IBM Watson offerings here in a minute. Cognitive provides this path forward to meet those, to help with the future-proofing of talent within an organization. And how does that, specifically, what do we mean by that at IBM? Now, this slide is very busy, but I'm going to point out 2 or 3 things from this slide. There's 3 products you'll see, and they address specific aspects of the talent space. Attracting new talent, knowing what success looks like, and developing existing talent. Those three points in the top center of this slide are really what we're going to be focusing on in the context of the IBM products for this. So let's start off with understanding, first of all, let's talk about a foundation. IBM Talent Frameworks, IBM Watson Talent Frameworks. IBM Watson Talent Frameworks is essentially jobs, skills, competencies, and all of the data that we have curated over 20+ years of our experience in this space. We use Watson to update it. So for example, you might have a job description, and we have the competencies and skills that go with that job description, and we have the tools to calibrate those competencies and skills. You'll see why that's important as I show the cognitive pieces in the next few minutes. In short, the reason this is critical to cognitive is that if you're going to be hiring and have Watson know or Watson suggest maybe matching a candidate based on a job requisition and based on what that candidate's skills are, it needs to be understood what those specific skills are before Watson can really do its magic. So Watson Talent Frameworks is the foundational component to everything we're going to talk about as far as cognitive solutions today. The first Watson product we're going to talk about is Watson Candidate Assistant, and this is where I make good on my promise of not just being within slideware the whole time. I'm going to start with a slide or two, and then I'm going to jump to a live demo for this product. And if you wish, after today's call, you can jump and see some of the demo this yourself. So you can, you'll know that I'm not pulling making a trick of pulling a rabbit out of a hat or something here. So Watson Candidate Assistant. You'll notice on the slide that red line shows that IBM Watson Talent Frameworks is the foundational piece for all of these. So Watson Candidate Assistant is it's an AI-powered personal advisor that allows a job seeker to engage with a company, potential organization, ask it questions, learn about the organization, and then decide if they even want to apply for a job. As well, it helps candidates find a job and not by a strict keyword search. Why don't we go ahead and jump right in? I'm going to jump ahead. We're going to go to these 3, or we're going to go to the top 2. Ernst & Young, EY.com, and we're going to go to NBC Universal Career site. And both of these are available for anyone on the call to test out yourself later on. So I'm going to jump out of my slide presentation. I'm going to jump into my browser here. And let's go ahead and jump right into Ernst & Young. We are on the Ernst & Young. Actually, I'm going to refresh this. We're on the Ernst & Young career site, and I've already navigated to this site itself just to save a few clicks. But what I want to point out is, on the left-hand side, this is IBM Watson Candidate Assistant. And first of all, IBM Watson Candidate Assistant is engaging the applicant with a chatbot capability. It has some preloaded questions. What skills do I need to work at EY? Tell me about EY's culture. Learn about diversity and inclusion at EY. I can also just ask it some questions, and this is configurable by EY, so they can have certain answers ready to go that will help nudge Watson in the right direction. What I like to show here is that EY has already they have some specific content around the culture there. So I'm going to go and just type in a question. What's it like to work at EY? Watson's thinking, and it brings up the exceptional EY experience. This is a YouTube video, but they've loaded it into Candidate Assistant, and Watson knows to pull this up based on that. So a prospective candidate can now learn about Ernst & Young before they even apply. Now, another way that Watson Candidate Assistant is quite powerful is to help someone find a job. But you might say, well, what do you mean help me find a job? I can do that already. Let me show you something real quick. This is Ernst & Young's website where you can do a keyword search. Now, just in the interest of time, I've already typed in sales for Washington, D.C., and I've hit search. And these are the results that came up. What this is doing is it's not using AI. This is no cognitive at all here. This is a basic, if you will, googly type of search where I'm putting in a keyword and it's bringing back jobs that have that keyword in it. You'll see sales engineer, advisory services sector, performance improvement, CGP managed services. This is basically saying, okay, if you put in sales, these are jobs that are salesy, right? That have that keyword. Let's compare that to what Watson Candidate Assistant can do. You'll notice I have the option over here to, where'd it go? Upload my resume. Now, I'm going to show you my resume first so that you can see the types of skills that I have in my background. So I have my resume right here. Oops, right here. You'll see on my resume, I've got some sales positions, some account management positions, some technical delivery leader positions, and so forth. There's my resume. No need to dig into it too deeply. I just wanted you to see that it's not a resume, that it is an actual resume, and that it is also not something where I have, say, financial or tax or those types of positions on it. Let's go ahead and upload it real quick. Upload my resume. Upload. Michael DeCarlo resume. Open. Now it's uploading my resume, and as opposed to, say, the keyword search, it's going to be doing something a little bit different. Look what I have here. Managed services commercial deal strategist, performance improvement technology consulting, data and analytics, tax services senior manager. Now these are all with a little match meter. It shows the match of how strong, and for whatever reason, oh, here we go. Assurance is senior manager, government and the public sector, low match. So Watson is saying, your background has sales and marketing jobs. Let's see what we can align you with for specific jobs within Ernst & Young that you may not have even considered. Maybe I hadn't even considered a managed services commercial deal strategist. I was just looking for a sales job. Watson's saying, well, there's a media match. You might want to take a look at this. Unfortunately, I don't see any high matches right now. But if I did, those might be ones that would be obviously more aligned with my background. I didn't put any keywords or anything in here. I simply uploaded my resume and let Watson match it with jobs. You can definitely see some low matches down here. Another site we're going to go to is the NBC Universal site. And again, these are live sites. You can go. This is not a demo environment. This is a live site. These are actual customers of IBM who are using Watson Candidate Assistant. I've already done the upload just to save time, and you can see with NBC Universal, I have a high match for an account executive in New York. I have a media match from an account director in Shanghai. I have some more media matches. Again, you can see account executive, director, strategy, business development. You don't see any financial analyst positions here because I don't have any experience there. You see more sales, you see more account management, you see more technical sales types of positions. And, you know, I always make the joke that a good thing my manager doesn't watch me do these demos, because when I see positions like vice president in New York, I think, that might be something I should look into. But in all seriousness. So that's Watson Candidate Assistant, using the IBM Watson AI capability to help me, the candidate, one, find a job that I might not even consider. Because if I go to a site and just type in a keyword, well, I'm going to get jobs that are just limited to that keyword. But IBM Watson Candidate Assistant is helping me not only have a great engaging experience when I go to that site, but it's also using the cognitive capability to suggest some jobs for me that I might not otherwise have considered. Jump back to my slide presentation here. I'm going to hold the slide on here for just a minute. So one, so I can get a drink of water, and two, so if anyone on the call today would like to jot down those URLs. Okay, let's jump back into our presentation. And it's going to jump me all the way there. So let's just scroll down a few times. Okay, we've talked about IBM Watson Candidate Assistant, and the next one that we're going to talk about in our continuum is IBM Watson Recruitment. Again, when we talk about applying cognitive to the HR and to the talent space, we are talking about ways in which we can, you know, in the first example, align the right candidate with the right job, have a great experience. But in this example, with IBM Watson Recruitment, we're going to see how we've ingested IBM Watson Recruitment and the cognitive features into the recruiting process. Now, why is that important? It's important because not only are companies struggling to, you know, hire top talent and retain them, but recruiters are overworked. Recruiters are, you know, if you have a couple hundred applicants for a given job, a recruiter has to make a decision every day. How do I best spend my time? How should I best, you know, who should I focus on? If I've got 500 applicants for a job, certainly I can't interview 500 applicants. It certainly isn't efficient to go through 500 resumes, right? So what IBM Watson Recruitment does is it helps recruiters, one, figure out how to best spend their time using cognitive, and it also ensures that data-driven hiring decisions are made. Why is that important? Well, like we said earlier, if companies wouldn't rehire 40% of the recent hires, well, isn't there a way to ensure that we're not going by emotion, and we're going by some standard, we're going by some objective criteria to hire folks, to hire new employees in the organization, thus ensuring a better fit, ensuring they're the most qualified, most likely to be successful? Well, that's where IBM Watson Recruitment comes into play. It's a cognitive recruitment solution, and it's designed to improve the quality of hire and recruiter efficiency. I'm not going to read anything more from here, but basically what it does is it recommends and prioritizes, and it also has a social listening capability to help organizations stay on top of what people are saying about their company outside of, just in social media. All right, again, as opposed to looking at screenshots of the actual solution, we're going to look at the actual technology itself. So let me jump back into that. And here we are. What we're looking at right now is IBM Brass Ring, and we are looking at an actual requisition, 606BR. Actually, let me just take a step backwards here and see if we can do this. There we go. Actually, let me go. I'm going to hit the back button. Hopefully, I'm not going to lose anything. IBM Brass Ring is an applicant tracking solution. IBM has, oops, all right, let's see here. I must have been having this sitting for too long, but that's okay. I'm going to get right where I need. Okay, so we're going to be looking at the senior sales consultant role. Now you'll notice this is IBM Brass Ring, what we call the requisition view. These are different job requisitions. First of all, IBM Watson Recruitment, the product we're going to be talking about for the next couple of minutes, it integrates with any ATS. It is ATS agnostic, although we're seeing it here in the context of the Brass Ring capability, the Brass Ring solution. We also have integrations that we've already done with the major applicant tracking systems like Workday. We actually have a partnership with Workday where we're embedding this into Workday. Cornerstone, Taleo, you name it. The major ATSs we have existing integrations with. The smaller ATSs, like I said, this is designed to work with any applicant tracking system. So the first use case, I'm a recruiter, come to work Monday morning, I'm really busy. How do I spend my time? Where should I focus on as far as my recs? The requisition priority column helps me figure that out. This senior sales consultant is a high priority rec. Let me take a look at that. As soon as I click on that high link, I'm greeted with information that IBM Watson Recruitment is providing. Using cognitive technology, it is telling me this is a high priority rec and I should spend my time on it. Why is that? Well, because we're kind of behind target. It's taking a look at the number of applicants for this position and then historical data about previous applicants to this position as far as and specific drivers around the time to fill this requisition and the qualified candidate volume based on historical data. And it's saying, you really need to spend some time on this one. This is high priority because you're basically behind schedule as far as getting applicants and getting candidates for this given position. That's the first area where Watson Recruitment is going to make help a recruiter spend his or her time more efficiently. The second area, which is really, I think, the most powerful, is when I click on the number 7 here, this launches me now. Again, this is launching me into a view within Brass Ring. But you can see here, I've got 7 applicants for this position. Now, 7 is one thing. It wouldn't be that big of a deal to go through 7 resumes and figure out, okay, well, I should interview these 3 because they look like they have the right skills. Still time consuming, but not so bad. But what if this were 100 applicants or 200 or 300 candidates? We hear from Google, for example, that they'll get hundreds and hundreds of applicants for one position. That's incredible. How do you, as a recruiter, how should I spend my time? How do I know which applicants to really, look at their profile, much less call up for a phone screen or bring into an interview? Obviously, we can't interview 500 people, much less look at 500 resumes, right? The match score, the success score. This is where IBM Watson Recruitment is helping recruiters know which candidates they should spend their time on. It's helping recruiters make data-driven hiring decisions. Now, how is this working? I'm going to go ahead and click on Jacqueline Cook's, the number 40 here. We're going to see what's going on behind the scenes. When I do, I see she has a 40. Okay, now hers was the highest. Okay, so she is the highest scoring match score. What's going on here? IBM Watson Recruitment is first taking a look at the job requisition itself, the actual job description with its details. And this is why I mentioned IBM Talent Frameworks first, because you can't have a good, and I say good in terms of quality, in terms of detail, in terms of identified skills and competencies. You can't have a good job requisition if you don't have the underlying foundational data for what needs, for what that job consists of. You have that in place, then it's taking a look at Jacqueline's resume. She, in this case, in Brass Ring, she has a resume or she's added some information about herself and she's created a profile. And now Watson is saying, okay, well, she has a direct match in digital. Now it's found some, and now again, this is not a key word. It doesn't mean that she has the word digital in her resume. It means Watson is understanding through natural language processing, through contextual understanding of her resume, that she has digital experience, some sort of digital related experience. She has some sort of sales experience. Now, it may not be as direct as digital, but Watson is gleaning from her resume that she has related experiences that meet the sales required skill. Now, sales cycle is a required skill. Watson's saying she doesn't have this. She doesn't have this in her resume. Again, not a key word, but it's gleaning. Watson is picking this up from reading her resume and understanding the context of what her experience and her skills and education. And she has direct management experience. Watson is seeing Jacqueline is scoring very high on this. There's preferred skills, social media, and it follows the same process. Watson is going through her application and giving her a score based on required, preferred, and soft skills that she has. Now, at the end of the day, the recruiter can say, okay, well, Jacqueline and Sebastian seem to have, they have the highest match score. Now, again, there's 7 of them. But if there were 700, now the recruiter can say, I think I'll take a closer look at Jacqueline and Sebastian. In IBM Brass Ring, there's actually a speed browse view, which allows you to compare the 2 selected candidates. So in Brass Ring, they should load up the resume. There we go. See, there we go. So now he knows I can compare these 2 side by side. I can look at their resume. I can see, maybe there's some questions I want to ask them when I call them on the phone. The point being, it's made the recruiter's job much easier, made his or her the time to figure out who he or she should focus on that much faster, because Watson has given an objective, data-driven match score. The second score you'll see there is called the success score. Now, this is what I always find interesting in this demo and in other instances of Watson recruitment. You'll notice we have what's called a success score. And you'll notice the success score for Abigail and Samuel is far greater than it is for Jacqueline and Sebastian. And they have a lower match score. Well, what does that mean? Let's take a look at the success score for Abigail, and we'll learn a little bit more about what this is. So the success score for Watson recruitment is where Watson is taking a look at the applicant's profile, no different than with the match score. However, as opposed to comparing it to details of the job requisition and all the data that we talked about, it's instead comparing it and scoring it based on influencers that have been identified as keys to success for this position. And I should add, historical influencers. So it's taking a look at, and we usually recommend having 300 or 400 at minimum previous employees who've had this position, so that Watson can understand who's been the most successful and why. So in other words, it's been shown, Watson has deduced that it's really important that they have a major of business administration to be successful in this role. The people who have been successful in this role have majored in business administration. On the other hand, responsibility and diligence hasn't been that important, which is interesting. Drive has been medium important. Communication skills, on the other hand, have been of greater importance. So historical applicants, or historical, I should say, employees who've been successful in this role have had not necessarily an MBA, but they've majored in business administration. They have great communication skills, and they have some medium planning and organization skills. And things like operational management, not important. Customer focus, medium. Responsibility and diligence, not as important. We can compare that to, say, Samuel with a 78 success score. Let's see what Samuel has. So Samuel is like, hey, if you went to the University of Chicago, history's shown that people who've gone to University of Chicago, and I just realized it's misspelled there, the University of Chicago have been successful in this position. All right. So IBM Watson recruitment in the candidate space, helping make data-driven decisions as far as who to interview, how to spend your time, and how to how to invest in as far as the hiring process. All right, we're going to jump back to the slides, and hopefully I can do this without having to right here. Did it again. All right. Well, the third pillar, as I jump through these slides really quickly, of how cognitive and how AI can future-proof talent is developing existing talent. Now, I showed a metric earlier about people leaving organizations because they don't feel like they have a real career path, or they don't feel like their organization is investing in them. The exact figure was 74% of existing employees would up and leave if another opportunity, another organization came along. So obviously, how Watson can help encourage engagement and thus encourage retention and ensure that employees know that they have a solid career path within the organization can be huge. All of these can be related back to dollars, but I think Watson Career Coach, where it comes into play is if I am preventing employees from leaving, then I am retaining them. I don't have to rehire for a job, maybe they'll move to a new role, but as opposed to having to fill, a position they might have taken outside and then backfilling their position, I'm not only encouraging employees to stay and ensuring their careers develop, but I'm literally affecting the bottom line. So Watson Career Coach is, and this slide speaks exactly what I was saying. Watson Career Coach addresses the circles here on the right-hand side. What career options are available to me? What am I qualified to do? How long should I stay in my current position? What skills might I need if I want to make a move to another role within my organization? And as the metrics here show, like I was just saying, employees who feel connected, feel engaged, and feel like they have a career path at an organization are more likely to stay. So it's really time for a cognitive career coach. It's time for some type of tool that can help employees in this regard. And like I was saying earlier, we see that employees today are expecting it, right? It says the average tenure of millennials says there's 2 years. Well, millennials are expecting that engaging web online experience because that's what they have from everywhere else. So they are expecting it from their employers as well. So I'm going to show one slide about what Career Coach is, and then I'm going to jump into a quick demo of it. Watson Career Coach cognitive solution discovers an employee's true desires and abilities, matches them with opportunities within the company, resulting in higher employee engagement, retention, growth, and internal mobility. So since IBM puts, we quote unquote eat our own dog food, I'm going to show you our own installation of Career Coach. So give me a second here as I bring that up. I had it here and now it doesn't seem to be here. So 1 second, please. Looks like it left me. So I am going to, oh, there it is. I was worried there. I was like, I know I had it available. All right, this is it. Looks like it refreshed. So MICA, this is the IBM internal installation of Watson Career Coach. MICA stands for My Career Advisor. And you'll notice this is a live environment. This is me, Michael DeCarlo. You'll see my information, nothing too personal. There's no it's just basically my job listing stuff. I have a bot technology. This is very similar to Watson Candidate Assistant. But remember, Candidate Assistant was for external applicants, whereas Career Coach is for internal employees. So I can ask it some questions similar to what I did earlier. I'm not going to do that. We saw that with Candidate Assistant. Instead, I'm going to jump to job opportunities. Now, what it's doing is it's basically looking at my profile and my background, and it's comparing it to existing job opportunities that are alive and available to me as an IBM employee, and most likely to external applicants as well. Just give this a second. It's worth the wait. But it's very similar to what Candidate Assistant would do, but my resume, if you will, has already been uploaded, and now it's like that. So let's try Career Navigator, and then we'll go back to it. So taking a step forward, what Watson Career Coach is doing I'm going to try this one more time. I'm surprised it didn't come right up. What Watson Career Coach can do is it will suggest jobs that are like a lateral move for me, and that's what should be appearing right now. And the reason I'm hoping this comes up because it looks very similar to the display that we saw on the NBC Universal site. We see the match and so forth, the match meter. Let's just give this a second. All right, well, it's not working today, but Career Navigator is, and I'll still check back. So what Career Navigator will do, instead of just suggesting lateral jobs for me, it takes my current job role, and my technical title with an IBM is Client Technical Specialist, which basically means I wear a lot of hats. That's basically what that translates into. And this is considered what they call a starting role. But since I want to know, okay, Watson, I want to progress my career. I want to advance. What are some options that I have? Well, one option that I have is, you'll notice I am a level band 9. One option is that I just go to the next kind of level up, a level band 10, and maybe become a technical sales architect. This could be a next career move that Watson is suggesting. And it's, again, look, it's not suggesting that I become a project manager or a financial analyst or a consulting engagement leader, which I've done before, but it's saying that the logical next step for you, Mr. DiCarlo, is to look at the general other technical sales architect. Now, I could look at the skills for this, and this is why I mentioned IBM Watson Talent Frameworks, because if we don't know the foundational job description and skills and competencies, how do we know how to bridge that gap, right? And it's saying required skills. Skills with checkboxes are currently not included in your profile. You may add them from the list below. So I have some skills already in my profile that it sees, but it's also identifying some skill gaps if I wanted to make this move to this position. Maybe I want to check another career path. Client Technical Specialist. Now, this is my current title, but this is just the next level up, level band 10, okay? Or maybe General Other Solution Sales, band 10. Maybe another Client Technical Specialist, level band D. That's where we get into kind of the executive level. So it's suggesting jobs for me that are essentially a step forward. And when I want to view the skills for that, it's then showing me the gaps that I have of the skills. Now, what we also can do with Career Coach is it can also help me understand how do I fill that gap. Learning recommendations for my current role of Client Technical Specialist, it's going to suggest some learning options that I might have. And it's going to say, you can take some of these courses to enhance your current position of Client Technical Specialist. But what if you want to move into that next position, other technical sales architect? And of course, I could have selected other roles in my career path. Watson is then going to suggest which learning that would be specific to my career path. Now, let's imagine something here. I'm an employee. And actually, this is 100% true. I've been with IBM right now for 4 years and a week. I've pretty much had the same job over the last 4 years. I really enjoy working at IBM. But what if I was getting called by other companies, hey, why don't you come work for us? You can do this or you can do that. And I might really consider that. But I can go into Career Coach and I can say, well, before I make any decision about wanting to leave IBM, maybe I should see what options I have. And I just showed you the Career Navigator with Career Coach is using Watson to help me understand what my future at IBM could be like. And it's also helped me understand how I can get there. Now, keep in mind, one thing that I want to say, Watson Career Coach, and actually you've seen this in all of the Watson technology, it's not designed to replace people. It's certainly, a recruiter could become more efficient, and maybe we could have a recruiting team of, 40 as opposed to 45, but it's not designed to replace people. We're not saying we want to have Watson and not have any human interaction. And obviously, ironically enough, in the HR space, there's always going to be human involvement. But what we've seen is it's helping us get a job done. It's helping us make a better decision. And the reason I mention it in the context of career coach is people ask all the time, well, does this somehow supersede the manager-employee conversation? Well, no, not at all. But it helps me as an employee. I can go to this safe place. My manager doesn't know that I might be looking for a position. And if I don't have a good relationship with my manager, I might not want them to know. On the other hand, perhaps I have a great relationship with my manager. I could say, hey, manager, career coach is suggesting I do this job. You know, you've had that job. Maybe you can help me get there. So it's suggesting, it's actually a way to augment the existing mentoring that would happen between an employee and their manager. All right, I'm going to do one more thing here. I'm going to see if this job opportunities is working. Maybe the third time will be a charm. And again, because I want to show you that it works very much like Candidate Assistant. And it's going to suggest jobs for me that would be a lateral move. And that's another thing. If I'm considering leaving, maybe I don't want to take a step forward, but I might want to take a position in a whole different organization where some of my skills might translate, but some of them not. More of a lateral move, just for a change of scenery. It's still a challenge. Well, Career Coach can help me with that too. If it's not working, it's not working right now, but I'll be patient and see what happens. We're almost done. I'm going to jump back to the slides after this, and then we'll open up for some Q&A for the last 10 minutes. I'm thinking it's not going to work. But if it were working, you would see jobs similar to that which you saw with the NBC Universal display and the EY display. All right, let me jump back there real quick to see if maybe, oh, look at that. It worked. I guess being patient, maybe clicking away. So as you can see, Watson Career Coach is suggesting positions for me within IBM that are basically a lateral move. Now this is great, right? Well, it is suggesting a project manager role here, a global talent partner. And you'll notice it has the high match meter. And if I scroll down, I'm sure I'll find some that are maybe not as high of a match. But you can see these are all positions that I might not have considered within IBM. Now here I am. I'm considering, I want a new challenge. I want to change of pace. I have no idea that I might be a good candidate for the Account Growth Executive Cloud Application Services. That sounds interesting. Or I had no idea that I might be a potential client executive in the U.S. industrial market. I wouldn't have known that if I had just done a keyword search, or if I had just let my manager, who might not be aware of some of these positions either. Watson Career Coach is suggesting positions that I might want to take on. Again, more lateral moves, but within a different job, just a different, it's like a change of scenery, still within IBM. Again, what does that translate to? If I jump back to my slides, what does that translate into? I'm an employee who didn't leave an organization. Instead, I stay with my organization, and my organization is not having to backfill me, it's not having to reskill, retrain, what have you. Organization has retained an employee who's going to be that much more engaged and that much more excited about being there. So like we talked about, IBM Watson will augment your talent management foundation. We talked about Candidate Assistant, we talked about Watson Recruitment, we talked about Career Coach. This slide basically shows all the different ways in which Watson Talent impacts this continuum that we see. I'm not going to read this, but you can see that it really affects the entire continuum of talent management. And this is why we say that IBM Watson Talent is a way to future-proof your talent with the power of AI. So with that, we'll go ahead and turn it over for any questions or any discussion that folks might like to have. Thanks again for your time and attention today. Hopefully that was of value to you.
Thank you so much, Michael. I think it was extremely informative. Great product. I don't have any questions in the queue, so I think you were very thorough. And unless anybody has anything else to add, I think that we are good to go.
All right, great.
Well, thank you so very much for your time. Thank you everybody for joining
today. And like I said, if you Amy, I was just going to, if like I said, if you want to take a look at those, at the Ernst & Young, the IBM, or the NBC Universal site, you can just go right to their career site and you can play around with Watson Candidate Assistant right then and there. Just don't tell your manager, because it'll suggest some jobs for you that you might not have thought of.
Thank you very much. And everybody, I guess, enjoy your afternoon.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great holiday weekend.
Bye-bye.